Thank you.
Okay, and you can just kind of start talking anytime. Normally we've got Jim Gray over here who kind of prompts and asks questions and just kind of helps facilitate things.
Awesome.
But he's among the missing right now, so
So just tell us when you started to fly.
We both started about the same year.
Yeah.
1947.
Roger started a little bit before me.
Very little.
47, I started
Yeah.
down in Decorah, Iowa.
I got my license in 47.
Yeah.
That's when
And I got my license in 48 on skis. On skis. Wintertime. Here it comes. We got the wind.
I think that's when.
I joined the Flying Farmers in 48, I know.
Hold the door shut.
Hold it shut.
Make a good doorstop.
What
So
else?
what did you fly?
Huh?
What did you fly?
Oh,
What did you do your training in?
started out as a champ, a Veronica champ, and then I joined the club here in Decorah. Learned several years, several months. Then they'd fly up to the farm and give us a lesson. Then he'd fly back to Decorah again. And after that, a couple of weeks of that, we joined the club in Spring Grove, and then we started a Cub, the J3 Cub. But Roger, you started in the champ. down
I
there.
started in the Champ down in Decorah and got my license in the Champ with Dewey Tatro and Chuck Rosendahl were my instructors. And then I quit flying for 3 years because I couldn't afford it. And then I bought a Ronca Chief in 1954 and I flew that for quite a few years. And eventually went from there to 172 and a Cardinal I had for quite a few years, 19 years in fact. In fact, I built my own airplane during that period of time from scratch in my basement. That was a Whitman Tailwind. I flew that for quite a few years. And then moved down.
They knocked out of the door, the window and the wall of the basement to get the airplane out.
Well, I built
I was
it in
gonna
my
ask you
basement.
how you got it out.
Yeah, I built it in the basement, but there was a big kind of window there, just about like this, and that much area, and I just removed that and taped and took the airplane out with the wings off, of course. Put it back together again, and then because my runway was right there, so I just was able to fly it right there.
So how many guys flew down here around Spring
Well,
Grove?
in my book that I wrote, I think I got a listing of darn near 100 pilots around here. And not everybody got their license, but at least they soloed to learn. But I got a listing, and that book is in the library down here, and it's called Flaps Up. But that was, I had a listing of all the guys in the military, flew in the military, and all the early guys way back and started, like James Shelley and Melvin Tria started in 1928, and they were one of the first ones around here. And is there a certain time limit?
No, but I'm thinking my car's double parked
Oh,
off.
that's okay. We'll take it.
And then I got my car that I'm putting in the parade.
She's laughing about. But
All that going on film?
Yeah, we'll edit that part.
you can cut it out. Yeah.
yeah, we can take things out really
Yeah.
easily. So
So how many guys flew a lot? Or how many local people own their own aircraft?
Well, we're the only
We
two
do.
are flying now.
Yeah?
Nobody else is flying it except us two.
I think we've been about the only two that have really progressed through the years
Yeah.
and still flying.
How many hours?
Oh man, 3,000, something like
Something
that.
like that, about the same. Anyway, you told about you started in the 150. Well, I had the J3, and then we got this new P11, and I'm still flying it now. That's a 47 model, so that thing is 62 years old. Still flying that.
See?
But then we had a Cessna 140. I took place, and when I was in their service in Rapid City, I flew back and forth to Air Base, and then we got I was out flying for about 10 years. So after I got married, I didn't fly for about 10 years. But then we got a four-place, a Cherokee four-place. And first Roger's wife got to be international or flying farmer queen, and then the next year my wife got to be queen. And that one Cherokee, we flew all over the United States to the conventions, you know. And my son learned to fly in that Cherokee too. When he was 17 years old, he went to California when he was 17. And well, I know Roger was a flying farmer, remember when I was, and we took a lot of activities. He had, up when he lived in Rochester, you had meetings of the flying farmers there in this farm strip, and I remember we had about 30 airplanes there at one time. So
I had my own airport there on my farm for 25 years, and we used to do a lot of flying off of that. We had a lot of meetings there.
one time I had my wife wanted to plant her sweet corn. We didn't have a seed. So we jumped in the airplane, we flew up to Rogers, landed in the strip. Nobody was home. We stole his pickup and drove down into Rochester and bought sweet corn seed. Came back to his place, left the car there, or pickup there, got in the airplane, flew home again, and planted our sweet corn. And we told him about it later. We called later and told him we'd been there, taken his pickup.
Now, were there a lot of farmer airfields around?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know the old maps show lots of them within 10 miles a year, actually.
I suppose at 48 through 50, there was a lot of strips around here, farm strips.
Yeah.
A lot of them. I can name off many different strips that there. And the farmers, a lot of farmers were there. Back when we were in flying farmers, both of us there, like state of Minnesota and Iowa, Kansas, boy, they had 500 members every state, you know. Now it's down to nothing, very little.
Too many of them left.
Very little now.
Aviation has changed.
It's gotten a
gotten
lot more
bigger.
expensive.
It's
Oh,
more
yeah.
expensive.
You need a transponder to
Yeah, all that.
All kinds of
to the
two-way
cities.
All
equipment,
that stuff.
two-way radio equipment.
Let's see.
It's taken the fun out of it. A lot of it is
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
the fun out of it.
Yeah, it's been an interesting life though. Had a
Well,
lot of,
when did it start to change? We know people who fly.
I think just gradually
Yeah.
over the years, it's more government involved.
I think
and-
the last 10 years when the aviation gas went so high price, that's one thing that slowed down that.
Yeah.
Well, you just start thinking $5 a gallon, you know. And then all the regulations too, that's what I hear.
regulations.
But,
Yeah, it's civil aviation's kind of got pushed
Yeah.
aside. a
Yeah,
little bit.
right.
Mm-hmm.
and, but,
Yeah,
well, I think one thing about both of us, I'd say that we saw have seen a lot of country we wouldn't have seen if we wouldn't have been in the airplane, because we traveled here and there to the meetings and to the conventions and that, and well, coast to coast, you know, it's nothing nowadays. And both the Cherokee and his Cardinal, why they were cruising about 130, 120 miles an hour, you know, by covered country. Yeah. I know.
Now, you see many, building experimental aircraft has been a pretty big hobby for the last
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
quarter century anyway. Do you see a lot of that around here?
Well, that's what mine was.
Yeah.
Basically experimental, but I mean, it was certified, and so I could fly it any place I want to. But I built it from scratch. I'd done all the welding myself, done all the woodwork, and spent 5.5 years building it. But it flew for several years. First trip that we made was down to Rockford, Illinois, my wife and I, when we, after 22 days after I had it certified. So,
And with the cost of new planes, a lot of them are building their own,
Yeah.
and you just have the satisfaction of building your own, you know.
Mhm.
And that's, I can remember, just for fun time, we lived over here out east of town, and I needed a part for something over at Harmony, and I jumped in the airplane, I flew to Harmony, landed on the edge of town, that was 40 years ago, walked in town, got my parts, flew back home again. I could have driven it just as quick, maybe, and totally, but it was more fun to fly. And remember a time we built your hangar out there in town? bunch of farmers got together and they helped build his hangar on his farm out west of town here. And I flew from our farm right across town to the edge of, west of town here and landed in his strip and helped build a hangar.
So did you do all your own maintenance and?
Not minor maintenance, yes, you can do that. You're
But the
sleeping.
certified stuff you
Yeah,
go to?
that has to go through FAA.
Decorah or
Right,
stuff like that?
through a certified mechanic.
Rather, you gotta get an A&E mechanic.
Oh, I guess we're gonna come in anyway.
You want me to in there now?
I guess in now.
You're supposed to be here, I guess.